What's going on, guys? GloveSaveHockey here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the most recent trade in the NHL between the Vancouver Canucks and the Chicago Blackhawks. So later on Friday afternoon, General Manager of the Vancouver Canucks, Patrick Allvin, announced that they had acquired Lukas Reichel from the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for a 4th-round pick in the 2027 draft. So if you're not really familiar with Lukas Reichel's game, he is a younger player still. His style is kind of based off speed, high hockey IQ, offensive creativity, particular in the offensive zone. Reichel is a 6-foot, 170-pound, we'll call him a forward because he does play center. He does play both the wings as well. I think Vancouver has brought him in mostly to play center with Philip Hedel's status kind of unknown at the moment. And they've already been missing Teddy Blueger for some stretches to begin this season. So Lukas Reichel is having a pretty decent start to the season. He played his first game with the Canucks last night against the Montreal Canadiens where he did not record a point, but he had 4 points in 5 games with the Hawks so far this season. As you can tell, not really getting too much opportunity. I do think that he hasn't really utilized the opportunity that he has been given throughout his career. As you can tell, he's played in 175 career NHL games where he's put up 22 goals, 36 assists for 58 points. His career high in points was last season where he had 22 in 70 games, but besides that, he just hasn't really been able to take off. And obviously, as you can tell too, he's a really high pick, a first rounder back in 2020. There was a lot of upside with Lukas Reichel, what he could be. Could he be an answer for the Blackhawks in this rebuild? But I don't think he's really turned out to be what they've expected whatsoever, and that's why they don't really mind getting rid of him. With Lukas Reichel just being such a high pick in this draft, I think there was a lot higher expectations than what he's shown. He's not even producing at half a point a game right now. He's almost near a third of a point a game at this point. And if you look overall in accordance to points out of players drafted in 2020, he's down pretty far. Even Caden Gooley, he was drafted right before him. He's a defenseman, and he's got 2 more points in 1 less game played. Reichel is, I think, sitting around 26th overall in points produced. He does have some high-end skill, though, so I do wonder if he will be able to turn it around with the Canucks. So we're taking a look at this trade overall for both teams. The Hawks are clearing up $1.2 million in cap space, while Vancouver is bringing in $1.2 million in cap space. And so the Chicago 4th-round pick that they acquired was actually their own 4th-round pick. This was involved in a trade a couple years ago between Vancouver and Chicago, where Sam Lafferty, a 2nd-round pick, and Ilya Mikheyev went to the Blackhawks. Vancouver got that 4th-round pick in return, and now a couple years later, they're flipping that 4th-round pick to get a young player with some upside in Lukas Reichel. So I think it's a pretty solid move for the Canucks. So just highlighting a little bit more about Lukas Reichel's game in Jay Fresh's player card. As you can tell, his defense has never really been that great. It was pretty good a couple years ago, but it was pretty bad last year and hasn't gotten much better this year. And he hasn't really shown that he can produce at a 5-on-5 level. So it's something that he's definitely going to have to improve on if the Canucks want to make the playoffs. So taking a look at where Lukas Reichel kind of slots into this Canucks lineup, like I said, Philip Hedel's out right now. Teddy Blueger's out right now. They're kind of a little bit thin on center. So right now they've got him on the 2nd line centering Evander Kane and Brock Besser. So taking a look at Lukas Reichel and kind of where he stands in his current contract situation. He's now 23 years old. He's going into the 2nd year of a 2-year deal where he's getting paid $1.2 million this $1.2 million per season. He's going to have a $1.3 million qualifying offer, which I think the Canucks are definitely going to do unless this season turns out to be a disaster. But he's probably going to get another chance on maybe a short-term bridge deal to kind of prove himself, and maybe he takes off, or maybe this could be kind of sort of his last stint in the NHL. So finally now, just taking a look at kind of both teams' cap situation. Chicago, they're not really worried about the cap. It wasn't like they were trying to get rid of Lukas Reichel to get out of a cap situation. It was more just for opportunity. I kind of wonder if they're going to bring a guy up from even Rockford at this point within the next couple weeks or a month to give them an opportunity, because I felt like Lukas Reichel's name's kind of been out there for quite some time. Like I said, with Chicago, they've got about $15 million in cap space that they can utilize, but this trade doesn't really change too much for them. If we take a look at the Vancouver Canucks now, their projected cap space is minus $1.2 million, and they have $880,000 in current cap space. Right now, Niels Hoglander, he's a $3 million player, has not played yet this season. He's on LTIR. Philip Hedel, Jonathan Lekkerimäki, and Teddy Blueger are currently on IR, so I'm curious to see once all these guys are healthy, if they do get them all healthy at the same time, if they are going to make an applicable move to clear up some cap space. I know they have shown interest recently in acquiring Pavel Zacha from the Boston Bruins, so wondering if that's a move that can potentially happen and if one of these guys could be in the deal headed the other way. Thank you very much for watching this video of the most recent trade in the NHL between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Vancouver Canucks, which sent Lukas Reichel to Vancouver for a 4th round pick in 2027. Appreciate you guys watching this video. If you haven't checked out any of my other content, please do so. You can like, subscribe, and don't forget to stay tuned for future videos.